This week's film is Armed and Dangerous. It was our second booby film from our random name generator or movie generator that we do each week. Ev, I believe, no, Prague, it was yours, Armed and Dangerous, or Evans?
No, it was my selection. It wasn't the booby prize though.
Oh, wasn't it?
It was actually one of my two nominations. But having rewatched it, I wonder if I should have put it under the booby prize.
Spoilers there.
Spoiler alert. Yeah, so I'd never seen this before, so it was an interesting one. And I was just looking at my notes now, and I've just realised I don't have them anymore. Oh,
Your notes?
no, never mind. I'm gonna have to wing it. It's not like I don't wing it every week anyway, so it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I have no memories of this. And sometimes we watch a film and there's snippets of it I've seen before. And this was one that nothing on there at all. So I'm interested to know, had either of you seen this before? I think I've had.
Yeah, I watched it a lot when I was a kid. But it was the version I remember watching was edited for television, whereas the version I watched the other night was actually the full thing. And I'll get onto the slight changes later on. But yeah, I really liked this film growing up. It was typical John Candy film, I suppose, for me.
Yeah, I'm going to tell you now, right? I wasn't a huge fan of this film, and I have a theory why that is, and we'll touch upon it in a moment. But one of it's based around the fact I didn't watch it as a kid. The other one is based around John Candy's character.
Okay.
And we'll come on to that. But yeah, Prog, what about you?
I do know that you're going to find some way to recommend it at the end of the program, though.
I'm not. Well, I keep it close.
You'll delve the depths of whatever reasoning you can have to.
Well, if you were looking for a John Candy film where you wanted him to play the not so typical John Candy character, and it was something from the 80s. What's your memories of it?
So I'm in a similar boat to Evan. I watched this quite a few times when I was younger, early teens, and I haven't watched it for, I would say, 25 years plus. But there are two moments or scenes that I distinctly remember from when I was younger. I'll tell you one of them now because it's not in my favorite scenes. But do you know when they walk into the party when they've got the rental tax? And John Candy says, or less schmooze or something like that. And he does this face. And I've always remembered this face on John Candy when he just goes like that. He's just dancing. He's got his head nod. I don't know why, but I've always had a picture of that in my head since I first watched it. There's another scene I remember as well, but it's actually my favorite scene, so I won't mention it now.
What have you got for favorite aspects? I'll throw mine in there at the moment, or one of them anyway, and I'm sure Ev will contribute to this. But what a cast. So many familiar faces throughout this film that you can say, oh, I know that person from that person from that. The first one being, the main bad guy in it.
Can I just say, can you see Evan itching on his seat to get involved?
Come on, let me in. I'll only say one, and I'm going to give the rest to Ev. But the main bad guy is the old man from Big, or the company owner. Yeah. And there's just so many. I'm going to do another one. The guy who is also a security guard, the massive black dude. He played Zeus in No Holds Barred.
Yeah. Tiny Lister Junior. Yeah.
Come on in, Ev. You love this section.
Right. My time to shine. Right, get in. Okay, so obviously discounting the three main stars, John Candy, Eugene Levy, and Meg Ryan. Did anyone notice Mr. Lazarus, what he was in before?
Right, I'm going to have to bring up Mr. Lazarus himself.
Yeah, so he was the guy with the curly hair and the tash, one of the main henchmen.
I recognised him from Blade Runner.
Yes, yeah, he was Leon in Blade Runner. Brian James, his name is. Obviously, you got Jonathan Banks of Beverly Hills Cop and Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad, yeah.
Better Call Saul and all that. The guy who played one of the Ben coppers, Sergeant Rizzo, he was in a film I just recently watched, actually, License to Kill. He was the bad guy's sort of henchman. One of the guards was Mr. Heckles in Friends.
Yep.
Larry
Hankin.
Hankin, yeah.
He was-
It took me ages, and it's not until you said then I was like, oh, of course, that's where I know him from.
Apollo Creed's trainer,
Tony Burton.
Yeah.
Tony Burton. Yes, yeah.
He was the guy fishing, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh, what a weird scene that is. After, when he catches the fish. We'll come on to that in a moment.
Oh yeah.
Does he catch the fish?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Hold on, there's a few more I've got. Oh, obviously, who can forget the quintessential 80s sort of, I don't know, shouty, you love to hate him sort of thing. James Tolkien.
Yeah.
As Lou Brackman.
Of Top Gun and Back to the Future fame.
Yeah, Top Gun, Back to the Future.
Ev,
also,
I've got a question for you. In your list or bibliography of the actors in this film, do you remember a scene with a little girl? And she looked
the cat
yes,
when the cat's stuck in the tree. Yeah, I recognise her, but I don't know where from.
Melanie McGuffin or Gaffin.
Yeah, what's she from? But do you remember?
I don't know. Only because I got a picture in front of me, but she looks really familiar.
I've got IMDb up. I've got IMDb up here. Hold on.
Melanie McGuffin, you said, is it?
The Wonder Years.
Gaffin.
Gaffin.
Gaffin. She was
in The Wonder Years. As Christine. Is that what you know?
That's not what I know. I know her from a film from when she was grown up.
Oh.
I'm gonna get this now. Hang on a minute.
It's nothing that I know anyway. But I know what you mean. She got a really familiar face.
Yeah. Go on, carry on. Sorry.
No, to be honest, I think that was it really for me.
Wait a minute. Yeah. There's bound to be a couple more. I'm gonna know a couple more surely.
What scene was it? When they, before they get the rental, the tuxes, when they're in the club with those two girls, the band leader is a famous sort of salsa musician. I only know him because he's referenced in The Simpsons in the Who Shot Mr. Burns episode. A guy called Tito Fuente.
Yeah, you're losing me now, Ev.
What?
No, the fact that I don't know him at all.
Oh,
you're going really obscure now, Ev.
I am, yeah. No, that's it for me. That's it. I'm done with me.
All right. That wasn't too bad actually, but that was only about 5 minutes.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. I've got another one. A guy called David Wall, who was the prosecutor at the start.
Oh, I've seen him in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and stuff.
Yeah, he was in a film called Brewster's Millions.
Yes, that's right.
He was in that as well.
We need to do Brewster's Millions. I think, or I remember that being a very good film.
I think I'm pretty sure he was in Daryl as well. Remember Daryl?
Yeah.
What a film,
the computer boy.
Yeah. Hot Shots Part 2 as well. He's in.
Is he really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Come on, then. What other aspects that people got?
I'll be honest, right? I think from this film you can tell Meg Ryan was going to be something. She's not given a lot. I don't think she's given a lot to do, but she's very charismatic on screen. I mean, she's obviously an attractive woman, but she comes across as a very charismatic person. So I think you could see that there was something there with her. Obviously we're going to get into it if you do have issues with the character, but I still like John Candy in anything he does, really.
Yeah, look, I love John Candy. So when I watched the movie, I was slightly disappointed afterwards. And not because I don't think John Candy was bad in it. I've got issues with the movie itself, and there's history behind the movie. And because I came away thinking this movie, I thought could have been really good. It could have been a really good vehicle for Eugene Levy, who I really rate as a comedy actor, and John Candy. And it could have seen them, I think, go on and do more films.
All I was gonna say is I think Eugene Levy is somewhat miscast in this film because I think he's better at playing like the weird or ditzy or out there character, the one that appears normal but isn't. But in this, he is supposed to be down the line, straight as an arrow, isn't he?
Yeah.
And for some reason, I really like Eugene Levy, but for some reason in this role, I don't know if he quite pulls it off. I did wonder whether would it have been better if they'd swapped roles. But then
maybe.
I don't know. I've just thought about that now, actually. So
Or
I don't know.
I mean, potentially you could. I'm just thinking off the top of my head here. Maybe have someone like Rick Moranis in that role. Maybe
I just thought of someone. Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
But well, funnily enough, this film, you know who it was written by, or the original concept was written by, don't you? But it's written by Harold Ramis. And and it went then to the studio. I think it was originally going to be a vehicle for Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi. Early 80s.
I did hear that at a certain point, John Candy and Tom Hanks would do to do the film.
Yeah. So originally that was the vehicle. John Belushi passed away, obviously, as we all know. We've discussed it previously. I think then, obviously, the studio had rights to it and what have you, and it moved away from being a Harold Ramis written movie, although I think he had some input into it further down the line, but a lot less. And it was going to be a Tom Hanks movie with John Candy. Tom Hanks dropped out, and that's when I think it evolved again into what the film that we know it. But Ramis really didn't like it at all. He asked for his name to be removed from a writing point of view and from a producing point of view, but his name is kept on one of them. I can't remember what.
It's a screenplay.
Yeah.
It's and that's why I came away and I didn't know that fact beforehand, and I thought it's got the premise of it could have been really good. I just think some of the execution just didn't work for me.
I'm going to say another bonus of the film. It sounds like damning with faint praise here, but it's the runtime.
Hour and a half or less.
Yeah. But I think isn't that something to do with Mark Lester, the director? Because I'm pretty sure quite a few of his films are like an hour and a half, if that. Because he did Commando as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he did Commando before this movie, and
wow,
what two, I think, very different movies. Don't get me wrong. There's some humor, I suppose, in Commando, but it's not supposed to be a humorous film. But yeah,
I wonder if they got Mark Lester involved because of that chase scene at the end.
Maybe. I wish I had my original notes because I think I made a note on that chase scene, and I think I put something in. Curious to know what Prog's thoughts are on this chase scene.
We'll get into that, but don't worry about
it. Right, come on. Any more favorite aspects before we move on to scene?
I quite like the score. I think that's quite good. Just like because it's just classic 80s cheese, and it just screams 80s from the get go.
Can I just point out when you say score, you mean soundtrack?
Well, yeah. I'd say the original songs plus like a little bit of like the music around the chase scene because I think it works quite well.
There is an openings, and I don't know if it's a song or whether it's an original piece, but there's an opening piece of music to the movie and I thought I was going to be in for a treat when it came to the rest of the movie's music. And it didn't disappoint. I'll sort of back Evan up on this. There are things to love with that pure 80s nostalgia, bit of synth coming out every now and again, and a bit of saxophone. Lack of boobage in this film. That's not particularly happy about that.
Well, that brings us on to my favourite scene.
Is it what's her name? Meg Ryan.
No, it's the sex shop.
All right.
Yeah,
When they're hiding out
well.
in the sex shop, and they go into the what is it called? Is it what's the voice?
Peep
Like
show.
a peep show, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, that's it. Yeah, you two boys will know better than me. So they go into
It's like that, eh? Oh.
So they go into the peep show, and that is the moment that saved the film for me, because it was my favorite scene when I was younger, and I really still liked it now, and it's because of the way John Candy acts in it.
Yeah.
The way he's like looking at the woman, the way they like their eyes are meeting and stuff, and the way he's always his mannerisms in that scene where he's like, give me a quarter, it helps me think and all this, and they sit down, and then Eugene Levy is offering quarters after they've seen the woman. Yeah, I just like all that 5 minutes for me I really enjoy.
Dig.
Yeah.
I like that bit of that sequence. I just didn't like the bit after. With the bit. He's obviously a gay guy, and he's doing that tongue thing to him. And then you see the I don't know if I'm allowed to say this to him, but a transvestite. I don't know if that's acceptable anymore, or whether there's other terms.
That's still a term.
Yeah. Anyway, that's what I'm using, and it just got a bit ridiculous afterwards.
Yeah.
And that's some of the issues I have with the film, that it's over the top.
What I find interesting is it didn't show how they got those clothes.
Yeah, did they beat them off? Did they beat them up? Did they pay them?
I'm quite glad that you don't know what happened.
Yeah, was it a sexual favor? You don't know, do you?
Well, that's it, isn't it? Because I'm sure we'll get on to it, but John Candy's punching women in this film. It's like I wouldn't have put it past him to do something to those two to get the clothes off him.
He's not just punching women; he's biting dogs as well. I'm just thinking.
Yeah. But that scene. Oh. Anyway, that's my favorite scene, the peep show.
Yeah.
I would say I think that scene you could put it in most comedies and it would work. I think that's a testament to the actors involved.
I just like the fact that
it's a simple premise. Sorry, but go on.
Oh no! I like it how it goes through stages. Like the first time, it's like, Norm, he's like disgusted with him, saying, "Oh, I can't believe he's doing this," but then there's a little bit less resistance when he's trying to get another quarter, and then right at the third one, they bring out seats and they just start sitting there.
I love the introduction of the woman though as well, because she's just sat there. She's just like having a fag, really casually, and then John Candy's there smiling, so she's just like, "All right, let's get on with it."
But
how long do you reckon she's sitting there for?
Probably hours. She's probably getting paid by the hour. It's an easy job to do.
But is she getting like a percentage? Is she, because it's like a quarter. I know it's a quarter per, what was it, like 30 seconds for a peep.
Yeah.
So like if someone goes in there who's really on it, then they're probably going to pump a few dollars in, aren't they? But it's like, is she making that much money?
Well, again, if it's an hourly rate, she's win-win, isn't it? Easy job. But just before that though, that I quite like how they're making small talk over the magazines they're reading.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it's like, what are you reading? Panty Boys. What are you reading? Love Suckers.
Ev, what's your favourite scene?
All the same.
Same,
Yeah, yeah, and I quite like the little bit afterwards where they meet up with Meg Ryan and he says, "Oh, show me the map," and he goes, "No." He's like, "Show me the map." No, and he's just like, "Bend over." So,
Why is the map on his ass? Is it because his ass was cut out?
Because his
Yeah.
ass was uncovered.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
wanted to put something over his ass. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. To be honest, right, I've only just got that, asking that question, because in the movie, I was like, why is he got a map in his ass? And it really didn't dawn on me at all. Come on. What's going on here, eh? My favourite scene.
Now he's going to recommend the film now. He's made that connection.
Yeah, exactly. Wow.
That was the turning point.
My favourite scene is probably when they're having the training to become security guards. And then the union guys come in and they're more or less demanding that they sign up, and Eugene Levy's trying to question it and things. I thought that was quite a good, how would I put it? But dialogue's not necessarily the best, but the way it's delivered, John Candy is just every now and again coming in with some quips and things. So yeah, that's probably mine.
I got one other honourable scene, I think, is when they're stuck in the steam room. And only because when you cut into the steam room, they're both like panting and wheezing, and John Candy's trying to keep him under control to stop him from breaking out. I thought that was quite funny as well. But yeah,
the lip sync thing I found funny. It's like, "Hello, Mike. I hear you've lost your penis." Yes, I have. Ooh. Yeah.
I've forgotten about that scene. Come on, what else what have you got as regards to changes?
I was going to go back to the back to your favorite scene just to touch on a little bit of that. It was a PG film, I think, when it first came out. I remember, but they drop an F-bomb in really early, and I didn't realize they dropped F-bombs in PG films.
So when's the last time you watched this movie?
Well, before
this time, obviously. Yeah. Would you say from your childhood, or have you seen
actually,
it since?
Yeah, I'd say.
You did say that when you watched him when you were younger, it was the TV version, so they wouldn't have had the F in there.
No, I didn't. No, and like it didn't have John Candy punching the women or biting the dog.
Which women does he punch? The women in the gym.
He punches the receptionist at the gym.
Yeah.
I mean, she is a hefty woman. She can, like, let's be honest, if three of us were against her, she'd probably take us all out.
She was built, wasn't she? Fair play. She spent some time.
She was a unit, man. I mean, she's worked hard. She's worked hard to get that body. She is a unit.
Sorry, I tell a lie. It wasn't a PG. It was a 15. But yeah, I just remember watching it without, in particular the swearing where he's like, "Shut up and sign the form," and obviously the biting the dogs and the the punching and whatever. But yeah, it's.
Do you reckon you saw this like on a Saturday afternoon, or it would have been like an evening movie?
I think an afternoon film,
but heavily edited for TV.
Yeah. This was this was one of my grandma's video library collection, so she taped it. Yeah.
Off ITV.
Yeah. No, this is a BBC one. I remember.
No adverts. Wow.
No adverts.
Come on, let's move on to changes. What have you got?
Don't get me started on the last 20 minutes.
Are we talking car chase?
I think it's a travesty. You know what? I can't handle a car chase at the best of times. There are now and again, I don't mind a chase, right? But there are specific reasons why I like them, or I enjoy them, or why I let them go. This film, I mean, the cowboy in the truck. How much damage did he do to all those cars? No, don't get me wrong. we've all been in that position where we wish we could just smash through the traffic jam, but you don't do it, do you? And then he's got rocket fuel in the back of the wagon. And then the wagon blows up and John Candy and the cowboy get out without a scratch.
I know. It's ridiculous, isn't it? They just walk out. And John Candy with his massive gun, he just gives it to that.
Yeah.
Okay. It's illegal in all but 2 states. And this isn't one of them, or whatever he says.
I mean, I'm going to say no, that's a good line. This gun is illegal in all but 2 states, and this isn't one. I think that's a great line. That should be in like a Dirty Harry film or something.
Yeah, I knew you'd have an issue with that car chase scene. Oh, that chase scene. It's just ridiculous and over the top. And
I mean, don't get me wrong, right? Meg Ryan and Eugene Levy, they're driving the wrong way in order to throw them off from robbing the van, right? But why would they not take a different route to where they're actually supposed to go? Because they've got it in their heads where the robbery's supposed to take place. So it's like, right, okay, don't go that way, so the robbery can't take place, but still go to where you're supposed to go, because when you're dropping the money off, there's going to be more people there to help you.
Yeah. That's the whole thing I have with the movie as well. They just like all these different things that they do. It's like those other guys are untouchable. And then don't get me wrong, and they've paid off security guards not to be there and what have you. But they're just like trying to, shoot a bloody vehicle in broad daylight. And there's no police there at all until the very end.
Yeah. The other thing as well, right? This was a typical 80s ending for me, because Meg Ryan's father, it seemed like he was going to get away with everything.
He had a change of heart. He saw the light, and he was going to make everything right. Even though, he's had so many backhanders. He's got a business as well from it all. Can I tell you my issue then? It's the John Candy character. That type of character is not playing to John Candy's strength. John Candy is Uncle Buck. John Candy is Chep, whatever his name is in Great Outdoors. This character had a... What is his character? Is it Frank Dooley or something?
Yeah.
Frank Dooley. I'd go along with he's got more of an edge in this film than he has.
He's not a very nice character at times. He's a bit sinister. He's a bit of a dick.
He says, I was a good cop. And I can believe that. I believe that he was a good police officer. And I'm okay with the character not being a very nice person, but being a good police officer.
Mm.
But I understand where you're coming from. Is John Candy the right person to play that type of role?
And that's exactly it. And maybe, again, what I said at the beginning, I didn't watch this as a kid, so I don't have the nostalgia for it. And is my judgment clouded because I love John Candy in most of the things that he's done?
Maybe.
And
I mean, I'll tell you something, right? And this would have been interesting. If they'd made him so outrageous, that character, so outrageous that you're laughing because of how outrageous the stuff that he does is, because of how ridiculous the stuff is, I think it might have worked. Yeah. But they didn't go there. They just sort of went like, oh, let's have him do a couple of things. It's like, oh, I don't know. What if he did this? It's that type of comedy, isn't it? Instead of being like, let's just make him an absolute monster, but he does his job really well. So at least that's kind of redeemable in him.
Yeah.
See, I don't know why, but I'm sort of the other side of the coin to what you boys are saying. I thought it was a quite nice change in him, like playing a different sort of role. I don't know. I love him in everything. To be honest, I mean, you could just sit there reading a phone book, and I probably love it. Like, but yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah, it was just nice. It was just nice for him to be like, I don't know, be a bit edgy and a bit like not macho or stuff, because I don't think he's that type of person, but you know what I mean? Just a different sort of role to what he's used to what we were all used to seeing him.
I'm in the middle of you two, see. Well, I actually am as we're recording as well, but I get where you're coming from, Ev, but I also get where Andrew's coming from. What I'm saying is that I don't mind John Candy playing something different, but if you're going to get him to do something different, go for it. Because I think John Candy is capable of doing that.
Yeah.
What changes have you got then, Ev? Given that you were a fan of the film.
I don't know. I think the set piece at the end, although I thought it was decent enough. I didn't like the cowboy bit. There was no need for him to just play like Grand Theft Auto and start bashing everything out the way. Apart from that, nothing much. Like, and there's
what
one
about the
little
dog
joke.
scene?
Oh yeah, I didn't like that. Yeah, no, that wasn't good. Him biting the dog.
But not just that. The dogs are useless. If they can't take out John Candy, what's the point in having them?
Oh yeah, I suppose, yeah. But like, there was one little joke which I thought, which I didn't I've never sort of noticed until watching it the other day, and it's basically there's a tagline on one of the vans of the pharmaceutical company that gets robbed near the start, and it's basically like it says like, I don't know, Centralux Pharmaceuticals, and it's got the tagline is because you're sick. And I thought, oh, that's quite funny that. But then it's almost like a blink and you'll miss it. Nothing's, it's not noticeable. And I think they could have done something like that. Like that. So.
Any other changes before we wrap up then? Jump straight in. Would you recommend Prog?
No.
Ev?
I would, yeah.
I wouldn't recommend.
Wow!
Look,
Hallelujah!
For me, watch every other John Candy film that I've seen. Anyway, I put above this. So, but hey.
Are you gonna have to put on social media now which ones you have seen so they can watch them?
I've only seen 3 others. So, right at this point in the podcast, we always try and pick our random generator. I'm mindful of time, so Prog. What 2 films do you want?
Spirited Away, and I'm going to go for another John Candy film, Only the Lonely.
Ev?
Mine's Dread, not the Stallone one, the new one, the newish one, and The Paper again. Come on, The Paper.
So we've previously had The Pagemaster and True Romance as listener choices. I'm going for Showdown in Little Tokyo.
Okay,
another Mark Lester film.
And Golden Child.
And so Adam, or just to clarify, Adam's choices aren't in here because he's not on the podcast.
Yeah, because he let us down. He doesn't get it. Right, so let's spin. Hopefully everyone can see this.
Yeah. Oh, just to let you know.
That's the Golden Child. Can you see it?
Yes, I can see it. Just to let you know, you had Armed and Dangerous on there, but we'd done it. But I would imagine that's meant to be Combat Academy. Yeah?
That's supposed to be Combat Academy. Yeah, never mind. But it didn't matter. And on that note, thank you very much. Podcasts come out every week. I say this because it's been Wednesdays, now it's Thursdays. So Wednesday or Thursdays, check us out. Cheers all.